The focus is on something very qualitative, that is how the media in Spain, as in other European and not European countries, are making some changes in their way of being, just the way of being financed, of work in journalism, with the audience, and finally in the way that the own journalists are making their work and recognizing themselves in society. One of the things I would like to remember is the fact that journalists are now doing something that was hardly to find before. That is, that they are talking about journalism. It's a kind of taboo. The fact that the journalists talked about other journalists, at least in Spain, it was very clear that it was what we have in Spanish, the proverb, dog doesn't eat dog. It was recognized as something wrong for a journalist to speak about journalism and the industry. And now we find many signs of the opposite. We find that the journalists are talking about journalism in any place, in academic spaces, of course in industrial meetings, and of course in their own media. You can find very easily the worryings of journalists about journalism. The thing is that we find too many things that are changing in journalism that shows a real deep crisis. We are now at what we can identify as a triple crisis. Triple because we find the crossing of a progressive weakening of the media, as we have been seeing. The recessive situation started in 2008, and the consequences of nearly 20 years of digitalization. In this landscape, where we want to find the value of that changes I was talking about at the beginning. So, if crisis is not only something hard and difficult, but an opportunity or a trend of opportunities, we want to find where are the symptoms of changes. And we find them in the significant bottom-up contribution to this overturn by the numerous journalistic startups that are growing in the recent years. As I said, not only in Spain, but also in many different countries. For understand better what this phenomenon, we try to understand to deep into the three cases more notorious, more visible, in order to find the components that make potentially differentiate them from legacy media. So that components are the things that we want to see as the factors that can carry us to see what really represents this kind of media. Each national context allows these media to emerge in different ways. For example, in the UK, it's significant that these startups have a more complementary profile alongside traditional media than those in France, Spain, or Italy, where they compete directly and actively with legacy media. In countries characterized by the polarized pluralism as Spain and elitist press, they achieve international audiences and even generate profits. Similar to traditional media, new startups are submitted to the severe competition of the journalism market. For this reason, as a report titled, "Simply Surviving is Success." It seems that, as I was saying, in the case of Spain, these media are achieving a bit more than mere survival, at least those studied in this section. To the contrary of the majority of new projects, the three media evaluated here are not based on filtering or utilizing content published by other sources, curation, I mean, but rather generate its own content. So, to analyze this, as I was saying, I selected the three main media in audience according to the data of the highest ranking in the unique visitors were selected. The ranking is the Office of Oficina de la Justificación de la Difusión, OJD, and in this ranking we find these three media. We find in the 20th position eldiario.es, that really is in a better position if we consider other rankings, and if we take out the legacy media. So it is the fifth, concretely, is the fifth pure player in Spain. And that's something significant, taking account that is a media that began almost a year and a half ago. Then Infolibre is in the position 62. That's the newspaper, online newspaper, whose director is Jesus Maraña, that I was talking about before. And then we consider in the third position Jot Down, that is not really a newspaper, but a magazine, a cultural magazine that is very notorious because of its quality of contents, and as you see in this table, it breaks all the records in time dedicated by the users, more than an hour, in front of the 20 minutes as much in the case of one journalist, one newspaper. The conclusions we can make with these interviews and with the documentation we have revised is we have motives to think that something is changing in the paradigm of media, of the concept of media, and that change or that changes has to be with what we consider a media have to be. Along the history, a media was supposed to be an institution that offer a very clear or not so clear editorial line, and an ideology with some values as objectivity, as I said, but we find that this media could show symptoms of that change in order to create a new, different model of media, even more when we find in the 21st century different ways of being informed and to participate in the information process. So I can finish with the question of what's happening with in this media landscape, in a critical media landscape, in which the media continue to be organizations with an editorial line, but something like that shows this new media offers to some doubts about the stability of this model. And the question is, can they continue to be organizations like we know, built around different conditions and with the participations of new players? We have analyzed 3 cases in a mare magnum of new representants of different ways of understand journalism, and the time will say us if this is just a fashion or really something is changing.